Well, it's Barb coming to you from my craft studio. I told you I would share my paper storage this week because that's what the focus of the Get Organized Challenge is. This is where I keep all my paper, and I know I have a lot, but I like to have a lot of sheets of colored paper on hand because I do dreaming tree projects, and sometimes they'll need 5 to 10 sheets of one color. So I don't want to have to, oh, I can't do this because I got to go out and get more of, whatever. But anyways, the first cube is all my themed paper because I use Tiffany's 4-section system, which is alphabets and numbers, which you don't need for paper. Usually if I have those, they end up like in my education theme. Then it's themes A to Z. Then it's rainbow, which the rest of the cubes in this unit are all rainbow outside of the first one, which was my themes. Then it's calendar year, which is these 2 sections, which I have mine by winter, spring, summer, fall. I do have a little bit of extra crepe paper at the end there, but that was just because I didn't know where else to put it. Down here in this cube, these are Totally Tiffany fab files. These are the ones designed for post-bound albums. I wanted just the 12 by 12, but I got such a good deal on the post-bound album ones that I just used them. Now, this one isn't a calyx unit, this one is. These cubes may be just slightly bigger than these ones, because I don't have any problem sliding these ones in and out, whereas here I think they were a little snug. I mean, they fit, but they're kind of snug. They slide in pretty easy here. But here I have my removable vinyl, my permanent vinyl, my iron-on or HDD. This one has like transfer tape, my Teflon sheets, and it has pre-made iron-on transfers. Some of them I got in. Let's see if I can find it. These type of things that you have that already have a design on them and you just have to iron them on. I should just go through there and try to use some of them or find them a new home if they won't use them. Now, of course, I can't just go back down in there. I know it fits. Ah, there's why. The Teflon sheets to keep them from falling in. And then the last cube has some specialty items that I wouldn't use on a normal project, so I didn't really want them sorted in with my paper, just like separate. This one has crepe paper in it, felt. This one has washi sheets, window cling, and faux leather and party foil. And this one has craft board in it. So it's kind of how I do my paper. Get back up, but that's the hard part. I might show you close up and kind of pause it and go in, but most of my paper are in the Totally Tiffany paper handlers. I like them because if I do want to take it off the shelf, it's easy to get off and carry over to my workstation. I don't travel with my paper, so I don't need it for that purpose, but I also like that 5 of these fit really nice in one cube, so it helps keep my paper better standing up. But anyway, I'm going to stop it here and then I'll grab those 3 and I'll sit down and I'll show you how I break down a color. I have my pink colors out and I was going to show you how I organize each color. Usually I have 2 to 3 of these paper handlers. They're the Totally Tiffany ones. I lay them on their, I guess would be their back, so that it opens out onto my calyx unit so that I can just pull the paper. I've went to buying paper. It's mainly basil. It has names to the colors. I like doing it that way so that I can easily buy more. And what I do is I alphabetize it by name. So there are maybe a few other brands in here. I might have some Martha Stewart or some Stampin' Up in there, but I just treat them all the same. I do note on them what brand it was so that if I need more of that color, I'd be able to buy it easier. But That's how I do my solid colors. My patterns I do by type of design. Now I put my double-sided at the front. I like my double-sided separate because I try to only use it on projects where I know I'm going to see both sides. So some Dreaming Tree projects will specifically need double-sided paper because both sides end up showing. Other projects I do as well. So I put the double-sided right at the front. And then I have full page. I don't know that there's any really in here. Oh yeah, there is. Full page art, which is what I consider, this is kind of what I consider. It's kind of got a full page artwork. So I probably wouldn't use that to cut up on my Cricut. So I separate it. I also put the ones that have the quotes and stuff in that section. Then I have dots, florals, plaids, stripes, wood, and then my last section is just called the rest. It's for any other pattern that doesn't fit. That one probably should be in dots, but any other pattern that I have that doesn't fit any of the other categories. It's just easier because sometimes I'm looking for just a dotted paper, so that way I can just go right to that section. That's how I do that paper. And then my last section in each color is my specialty paper. So in here I have my foiled paper, which sometimes I put this one in there because it has foiled dots. A pack of Cricut foiled paper, more foil. I have a lot of pink foiled paper. And then my next section is glitter paper, which I see my little, I probably should have did that in two instead of folding it in half because it's just not working folding it in half. Then I have my glitter paper, and I do label that if I know, like this is the dark rose Cricut glitter, which actually that's my favorite glitter paper, is the Cricut glitter paper. It's just so nice. And then mulberry, which for the mulberry paper, it's a really delicate, almost tissue paper like quality. It may be called something different nowadays, but when I first kind of got into crafting and found that, they called it mulberry paper, so that's still what I call it. I use one of Totally Tiffany's, I think she calls these either a paper pocket or a page pocket. I use those for my really delicate papers like the mulberry paper. Then I have pearl paper, which I don't really think I have any pink pearl paper, or if I do, it's just a small sheet. Poster board is next. This one's actually Cricut poster board, but I will put my regular poster board in here too. I used another one of Tiffany's page pockets for my vellum. If anybody knows a good source for vellum, just colored vellum, you know, solid color vellum, let me know. I'd love to find 12 by 12. I found 8.5 by 11 on Amazon, and I do buy that occasionally. I've also just bought the solid that I can run through my printer and print the color I want, but I'd love to find some 12 by 12. And then this is white core. I separate that because I try to reserve it for projects where I know I want the white core to show up. And that's how I divide up my specialty papers. Because a lot of times when I use these, I know I want that effect, so I like to have them separated. But that's kind of how I break down my paper. I thought maybe you'd like to kind of see how somebody else does it. I mean, a lot of people probably wouldn't want to break down quite this much, but it kind of gives you an idea of what other people might be doing with their paper. I didn't really have much paper to do this week. I did have some new dividers that I had gotten last week on our trip to Madison, or was it 2 weeks ago? Well, anyways, on our trip to Madison, so I added them into my sections. And I found a few more when I was organizing. So I was looking for something else and I found those. Anyways, thanks for joining me. I'll catch you next time.